Hi, my name's Claire and I've been living with Amy for the past 9 years.
Speak up.
Nearly 10 years coming up. And this is my diary of how it has affected me and how I've coped and learned to live everyday life, looking after my family and dealing with it. It all started in January of 2002 when I became ill and thought I had sciatica in the lower back. It proceeded where I couldn't walk after about 5 days and spent numerous days in hospital with doctors doing tests, lumbar punctures, blood tests, MRI scans, all the usual to rule out anything serious. It was quite frightening at the time, with having a young family. It was very scary. However, carried on having tests, all come back normal. Me, I met odd, and then felt that there was something that it just wasn't explainable. They made me feel like it was all in my head, and that was horrible. And then the depression kicked in and slowly went downhill from there, until I was admitted to a rehabilitation ward, but they didn't really give me much rehabilitation. The doctors weren't very nice. Again, just basically putting it down to it was psychosomatic, so I was referred to a psychiatric doctor, psychologist. I blamed it on a lot of things in my past, traumas and things, which I disagreed with. Myself and my husband were very hard to cope with all this, and then it was hard even when my mother-in-law died that year, beginning of the year, which was even more dramatic. We got through that, and the day I discharged myself was because the consultant came in and basically said that Mrs. Sherry, I was at the time, you've got to face it, you're going to be a paraplegic for the rest of your life. So that was it. That's just, I wanted home, so I phoned my husband in tears, many days of being in tears for 3-4 months. Very distressing. Came home with no help, lived in a 2nd-storey flat, and in a wheelchair, being paralysed from the waist down, suffering a lot of pain, headaches, achy pain in my legs. Every time I moved there was sharp shooting pains down my back, pins and needles in my feet all the way up to my legs. Just gave me painkillers, and that's all I had for quite a few months. And then I was referred back. No, I wasn't. I got another appointment for a 3-month check-up with a consultant, and went and seen him. And at this point, he was really concerned because there was now no muscle tone. When living in the flat, my husband had to carry me up and down the flights of stairs every day if I wanted out, Other than that, then I was basically combined. That's another word. I find it hard to find words now. I was restricted to the house, put it that way, because I couldn't move in the wheelchair and everything like that. So it was hard on him as well. He found it very difficult to cope with, and he's been at God's end, but at that time I felt I was pushing him away and felt that he didn't need to deal with it, and he shouldn't be going through it. He didn't deserve it because he was too good a person. He could have found somebody else better than me, but the depression was quite bad then. When I seen the consultant, he then done something about it and referred me to a neurologist in Edinburgh. He was lovely, and they took me into Edinburgh at the Western General. Done all the tests again, MRI, CT scan, lumbar punctures, blood tests, nerve ending tests, all the tests you can think of. But I just wanted somebody to tell me what was wrong with me, and just didn't seem to be getting any answers. In Edinburgh I was under a strict physio regime, which helped every day, and I met another consultant and done a research for him, and they came to I had physical and functional paralysis, which is all the symptoms I've got of having headaches and memory loss, confusion, aching pain, sharp pains, pins and needles, dizzy spells, and so, however, I was in Edinburgh for about a month, 2 months. Their test came back negative, as they did think it would, but had this physio, and I came out home on 2 sticks, which was quite good. So I was seeing them every 3 months for reviews. Still hard to cope with at home, because I couldn't accept every now and again that I would end up waking up being really, really sore, and then gradually it would get weaker and weaker and wouldn't be able to walk. My children found it hard. Got 2 sons and a daughter. At that time, the daughter was 2, coming 3, and twin sons coming, it would have been 7, I think. That's terrible, I can't even remember. And that carried on that year. Into the following year, we had put in for a move, but it took them 18 months to get moved out of the flat and into a 3-bedroom house. But it wasn't a bungalow, but I was happy that I was just in a house, that I wasn't restricted as much because a stair lift was put in, and that was fine, and we lived life as much as we could, dealing with the relapses of my condition. I must admit that the worst of it would be the pain. It's unbearable sometimes. It's really hard to deal with. So it would be trips to A&E every now and again, and phoning friends, a couple of friends were really, really fantastic and helped a lot, and pity my family didn't do that at the time, but So that's a different story. I do a wee bit better now, I must, well, sometimes. However, we decided that, well, I gave my husband to be either would get married or have another baby, because that would, didn't know how that would affect me. And we decided to get married. So I had been to that year, 2005. I'm going way ahead of myself here. I'm going to go back a bit, rewind. In 2000 and end of 2003 I tried to go back to work. I thought I'd try that to see how I'd go on. But that didn't work. I was being a waitress and just being on my feet all the time and working different shifts, being tired and everything, that just made me not well all the time. And so that had to stop, and then I felt that I was being judged by some people because they didn't understand what I had, because sometimes they'd see me walking and then I would be on a crutch and then two crutches and then into a wheelchair, and in my small town just felt that kind of everybody talks, probably paranoia, but it's just the way I feel. So that took me into 2004 working, but at the moment I'll leave it for there and continue in my next video. Thank you, and hope you